3 months of NFL football, and that knee didn't go back out. He goes, I just keep wearing this shirt and do the movements you told me to do. They ended up winning the Super Bowl that year.
Brian Burzynski is the creator of the tension release technology and the founder of Intelligent Threads, used by elite athletes you probably already know, and over 10,000 people to move better and live pain-free. Brian's clothing communicates with your muscular system, helping the body to release tension and realign within minutes. This means health and performance.
So what's wrong? She says, I feel like I'm cheating. I said, what do you mean you feel like I'm cheating? She goes, well, I go and work out and I burn my legs out, but I put your shirt on and all the soreness goes away in my legs.
What's actually happening inside of the fibers? Is there a way that this solution can actually help with more like psychological or emotional problems that people experience?
She says, no, you don't understand. She goes, I injured my shoulder when I was born. I've never been able to raise my arm all the way up, ever. Oh, the craziest testimony, the craziest testimony.
Your product is something that I have never seen before. And whenever I watch videos of people who try them on, they are freaking out. So
Yeah.
actually, I wanted to start this with by asking, can you please just explain like what is Intelligent Threads and who is it for?
I work with the body structure and help the body balance out and get in the proper positions. And I realized early on if I could get the muscles in the body that holds the posture in the wrong position, if I could get those muscles to let go, then the body would have a greater chance of having stability and hold the anatomical neutral position properly. And so it took me about 15 years, but I finally figured out what responds to the muscles or what the muscles respond to make them let go. So I had to build a machine, and then from that machine, um, the output of that machine is actually what causes the muscles to let go. But I don't like machines, and I don't like cords. I don't like cords at all. And so I thought if I can get that machine, the output of that machine, uh, that's really what did it, not necessarily the machine. So I thought, okay, how do I take that and put it into something that we can use outside of it? And I thought clothing would be the best option. So I was able to break that down to a particle. That particle we were able to put into the fabric at a submolecular level. We call it myofixation. It's actually a term that's out there. My buddy was like, "Do you realize you're doing myofixation?" I was like, "Really?" Which was pretty interesting. Um, and so it's just a combination of a bunch of different things that we all crafted through a machine that I built. And so the output of it is a particle that interacts with the muscles. It creates a signaling process. But the thing about it is, it has to be in close proximity. So clothing was the perfect vehicle for it because I love my athletes to wear it while they play, and we're showing that it helps with soft tissue injuries and all that, makes them go away. But the cool part is they can't wear a machine while they play, but they all wear clothes. So I'm like, this is perfect. And so about 10 years ago, we figured out how to embed it into the clothing, and now we've been running with it ever since.
Well, like I saw so many interesting reactions from people who
Yeah.
put the clothes on, right? And
Yeah.
also like we talked a lot about like structure and like muscle release and the tension and even like physical pain, right? Because that's something that I think like this is when people start like looking for a solution when they are in pain or they are not performing at the most optimal level. So, what do you think that people usually get wrong about their bodies, especially when it comes to physical pain?
That's a really good question. That's Thank you for asking that one. I think, and I'm not the best researcher in the world, but I keep looking through different medical literature and stuff on the body, and I can't find really good supporting data about the compensation that the body goes through structurally. If anybody does find it, please let me know. I'd love to research that a whole lot more. Um, I think people, I, I think nowadays people don't take the time to research and try to figure stuff out. It's just what somebody tells them is what they believe in. So in my office, I have a lot of people that come in here and they think they have damage or they have something that's irreparably harmed where they can't get any better. And the crazy part is, it's pain is a signaling process that tells you something's not right. And sometimes, sometimes if you tear or break something, well, then that's a good point. But a lot of times the body will give you a warning sign of pain that something's not right, and it's going, "Hey, fix it. Hey, figure out what's going on. It's going to get worse if you don't do something." And so what we do is we like to mask it and go, "Yeah, I can't feel the pain now, so it must be okay." And, and then what happens is the body goes deeper and deeper into compensations. And what I mean by compensations, I think what happens is people will compensate for whatever reason, picking something up heavy, getting hit. And then I think the large majority of time the body uncompensates back into its right position. And they're good. There's no pain. Everybody's happy. And it could take a couple weeks, couple months for that to uncompensation happen. But I think every once in a while you compensate, and then instead of uncompensating, you compensate again. And so now the pain goes down to the pelvis. And then you compensate again. And when you compensate the next time, let's say the pain goes to the knee. What happens is everybody then just looks right at the knee because that's where the pain's at. But then I can't tell them, if people go, "Well, I don't know what I did. Nothing happened. I didn't fall. I never even ran on concrete my entire life. I'm not an athlete, but my knee hurts real bad." Well, you didn't injure it. So why does your knee hurt? Well, it's got strain on it from compensation. And so if we just look at the knee, we miss everything. And so if we can get the whole body to let go and the structure to straighten back up, then the knee pain stops. So a lot of times I'm working, say, in somebody's shoulder or stomach or other leg, and then the pain stops on the right knee, even though we're working on the left hip or the right shoulder or wherever. And so I kind of knew that principle to be true. But what holds the compensation? What holds the compensation is a muscle. So if a muscle gets tight, it can pull and hold the bone out of place. Now, scar tissue can hold stuff. If you fall down, the ground can knock the bone out for sure, 100%. And there's some other stuff too. But what we see in the large majority of people is that the muscle gets so tight it pulls or holds the structure out of place. I showed somebody this the other day. I was like, "See," they're like, "Well, Brian, you're just tightening your muscle." And I go, "Exactly." They go, "Yeah, but you could just let it go." I go, "Exactly." Like you get it. They're like, "Yeah, but is that simple?" Yeah, actually. And so once the engaged muscle lets go, now the bone has a chance to straighten back into the right position. If it stays tight, even if we force it back in, the muscle is just going to pull it right back out. And then that creates a compensational chain throughout the body. So that's more or less that's what the clothing does. It releases every engaged muscle in the body, allowing it to have a chance to go back straight. Those videos, the funny part is my shirt, I would never call it a pain relieving shirt because it doesn't necessarily it doesn't mask or cover up the pain. What it does, it stops structural imbalance at a root cause level, which then a lot of people's pain goes away.
Mm.
But if you had a tooth infection and you put my shirt on, boy, it's still gonna hurt. if you if you're wearing if you're wearing our clothing, I would say shirt. Shirt was the original article of clothing I picked. Now we have a whole bunch of different items, but always when I reference the technology, I always say the shirt or shirt. When you put my if you have my shirt on and you get hit with a sledgehammer, it's going to hurt real bad. So it's not magic or anything like that. But what we found is once the muscles let go and the body starts to straighten up, then all of a sudden the autonomic nervous system fires properly. You go into parasympathetic state. Your body can heal better. You sleep better. The REM sleep kicks in. The deep sleep kicks in. your body's not in a stress state anymore, and then of course the pain will melt away too, because all of a sudden your body's straight and relaxed. I can't tell you how many people come in, they lay on the table, and I push on them, and they hurt. And I say, those muscles are engaged, relax them. And they can't. And I go, okay, think about it though. You're laying flat on a table, relaxed, and all those, there's a ton of muscles that are just tight all through the body. Well, that shouldn't be. When you lay down, everything should just let go and you should relax. So that I just saw that early on, and I spent 15 years trying to figure out how to solve that problem. So we figured it out, but when we did it, it's so weird that it's so fast and so simple. It just shocks people. And have you seen? We get a lot of cool reactions.
It's entertaining as hell. Like,
Oh yeah, for
yeah, yeah.
sure.
I love that. And that's exactly how I also discovered you guys. And I'm like, what is that thing? Right. And immediately when I look at this, I'm like, oh wow, like what, why, what? Right. So there's like so many questions. That's exactly why I wanted to sit down with you and also like have a chat, just to see exactly what's behind this, right? But just to still stay on the topic of pain. So as you said, that pain is just a signal, right? Pain is not necessarily the problem. It just we consider it as the problem because it creates us discomfort, but it's a signal that something is wrong somewhere in the body. And also, if I get it correctly, in many cases, of course, like if I break my arm and my arm is going to hurt, but in many cases, the the pain isn't always where the problem is. So let's say
Right.
that I had, like from my personal experience, I had so many things. Luckily, I didn't break bones and stuff like that. So like knock on wood, let's keep it that way. But I constantly had issues with tense muscles. So I had like a knee problem. Then it turned out that I had something with my hip. Then I had an ankle problem. Then it turned out I had something with my shoulder. Then I had a shoulder problem. It turned out I had something with my shin. And I'm like, wow, like it's a kind of like fascinating, like how everything is so connected. And exactly what you said, that I also know that my shoulders are not exactly leveled. So one of them is lower than the other. It's coming from the hip, then it's coming from somewhere else, right? And then immediately the entire like beautiful structure that we have, it kind of like falls out of balance. And then there is going to be like more tension somewhere and more friction somewhere where it's not supposed to happen.
You've experienced it.
Oh, I know it. I know it. And especially, which I think it's very interesting because people say that most of this stuff comes with age. Like when I listen to my grandma and, her surrounding, and of course, like age has an impact on the body. But I
Absolutely.
also feel that so many people use it as an excuse, like, oh, that's okay. Like
Yep.
it's normal. Like I'm already 30, back pain normal, right? And I'm like, no, like I don't want to have back pain. So like what would you say
Exactly.
to people who use their age as an excuse for like pretty much like not looking after themselves?
Yeah. Um, People say that to me all the time, and their age is a factor to some degree, right? Because the longer you've lived, the longer you've had a chance to mess up or stuff happen to you, right? So there is a factor, but I work on 80 and 90-year-old men and women who have no pain at all, and they can do pretty much what they want. In fact, I had a 94-year-old lady in here last week. Her and her 95-year-old husband, they just do what they want. They hang out and drive and live by themselves, and like they can do whatever they want. Like they have no pain, they're fine. And then I have 20-year-olds and now teenagers that are in really bad debilitating pain. So if it was just an age factor, then okay, um everybody at a certain age, this would happen to them, but that's not true. um but there, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a factor of age, but it's not what people think it is. But if you can blame age, then like you said, you don't have to take partial responsibility in trying to figure out what's right, or how to get your body right. And then the other part is thank God we have drugs. Drugs can be very, very good. You get in a really bad car wreck, man, get on some morphine or whatever the doctor prescribes you as your body heals. But the reason you're in pain is because of the impact you had. That impact doesn't happen every day. Once your body heals, then you're good. when it's an internal compensation that never goes away, now we're masking the pain. So it's a double-edged sword, right? If you if we don't address it, then it's just going to get worse and worse. And then you start wearing out your joints, you're wearing out your hips, your knees, stuff like that. So yeah, 100%. I think accountability is, um, I think it's lacking in some degree. I mean, but there are a lot of people that does what it takes and gets it right. But and the other part of it is there's not a lot of places you can go or have that thought process that can actually correct the structural imbalance. So, I mean, okay. Oh, Brian, structural imbalance, great. Okay, but now what do you do? Like, there's just not a lot of different places you can go that like will thoroughly correct everything. But if you do a lot of different things and go to a lot of different places, you can get better for sure. And that's kind of why I do what I do, but I developed something that can be multiplied and we can help a ton of people because once that muscle lets go, then it's that much easier for the body to straighten up. Now, when you go to different therapies and sessions and workout sessions and stretching, now all of a sudden the body has a greater chance to go back into the right position, which will stop the long-term pain.
Because some of the things that I have tried in the past were I went to physiotherapy, I went to a chiropractor, I went to a kinesiologist, I went to do all of these things. And actually, they helped me a lot and they definitely get me out of pain. But for example, with the chiropractor, he said that, okay, I can crack you and put things back in place, but if your muscles are still not doing the right thing, everything is just going to go back. So this is why I had to implement like a very religious like mobility training and
Yeah,
exercise series
perfect.
so I can strengthen those muscles that were weak, which was like even like in my inner thigh, there was like a muscle that was weak that created some imbalance for my upper body, right? And so why does this work? So like what's exactly the secret behind it that I don't even have to go to these guys. I can just put on a t-shirt and I'm gonna be fixed.
The what holds the structure out of place is the structural imbalance is held by the engaged muscle. If you take scar tissue out, because scar tissue can definitely cause some issues, but it's not a large percentage. The people that have it might argue with me and go, no, and the person that does have scar tissue, it could be 100% of their problem. I'm not saying that. That's very valid. But for most of the people that I see, once we get those engaged muscles to let go, their body straightens up. So, like, for example, you just said the inside of your quad doesn't engage or it's weak. So let's walk down that thought process. The pelvis, let's say the pelvis raises up on the right side. The IT band is the band that connects from the pelvis down to the knee. That band now is being stretched tight. So when the pelvis moves over, the muscle's holding it. The opposite muscle, or the IT band in this case, is pulled. So think of it like a rubber band being stretched out. That pulls the tibia or the bone underneath your knee. It rotates it out to a degree. The more tight, the more it rotates out. As long as the IT band stays tight, that tibia is not going to go back in place. And even if it goes back in place, it's not going to stay there because the IT band is going to pull it right back out of place. Okay. When the tibial tuberosity rotates, and so what I mean by that, if this is your femur and this is your patella, or excuse me, your tibia, and your patella's here, your kneecap, it's going to rotate like this. When that happens, the inside of the quad stops firing. And I think it does that for a protective factor. I think if it did fire, it would hurt your knee quite a bit because now you're having two different pulls on the same knee and it could cause more issues. So the inside just stops firing. And so guess what? That makes weakness. But it's not that you're weak, even though you can't use that muscle properly. It's that their knee's out of place because the IT band's tight because the pelvis is out of place. So once you get that to release, and so when you put on the shirt, that IT band just lets go, and most of the time the pelvis straightens right up. Now there's nothing holding the tibia out of place. So we do a move where you just kind of take your heel and stomp. Not hard, a pretty good little kick, or better description would be a stomp, which gives the knee just enough force to open up and straighten up. And when that happens, if you tighten your quad, all of a sudden the inside of the quad engages. Well, now it's not weak anymore. But what happens is they see a weakness in that muscle and they say, we need to work it out. And they're not wrong, it's weak. And you do need to build strength in it. That's a good thing. But why is it weak? Because I'm pretty sure when you walk on the whole leg. So why is the outside of the leg stronger than the inside of the leg? Doesn't make any sense if you think about it. When you do a squat, when you work out, you're working out your whole quad. But yet the inside's not engaging properly. It's not because it's weak, it's because it's protecting the knee. So you get the knee right, all of a sudden the inside of the quad fires. Guess what? Knee problems drop. Now you're going to have less and less chances to tear an ACL or MCL. Now, you get hit just right with a Mack truck in your knee, all bets are off. I don't care if you're wearing my shirt or not. See, so it's not like it's magic and not like it fixes everything. But if we can get the body into the right position, now you have the best chance of balancing out the body and getting the pain and stopping everything. Yeah, I don't know if we have a video on that. I think on my website we show that kick stretch. We have some movements you can do to, once the muscles let go, we can pull some of the more bones back in the right position. Very simple things that you can do. And sure enough, if you engage your quad and you push on the inside and that quad doesn't engage, you put the shirt on, do the kick, you tighten your quad again, it's going to engage. If it doesn't, maybe you need to do it a couple times, or possibly you have some scar tissue or something that's holding it. But the majority of the time, that inside quad will start to engage because it is weak. But why is it weak? I think I'm over curious. Anybody ask me a question, I'll say, well, why? And if we can get to the root cause of it, then you can fix a lot of things.
So with this one, we can get to the root cause by letting the muscles to relax so everything can get back to its like normal position.
Yep. Yep.
And you mentioned that you broke things down to a particle level and then you infuse that energy into the fabric
Yeah.
itself. But so for example, when someone says like energy infused material, I believe that most people's mind goes towards something like spiritual, like a woo-woo or something like woo, like okay, like we put energy into this thing. But what's actually happening inside of the fibers, specific scientifically speaking?
Yeah, absolutely. So the particle we developed, the process we have is you have a molecule. Basically, we open up the molecule, put the particle in, and it closes it. So it bonds it to the shirt or the article of clothing or gel or bedding or whatever, at a submolecular level. So it's going to stay in there, so it won't wash out. But what it does, I had to have a delivery system for that particle. What the particle does is it creates a signaling process. But think of it as a very horrible Wi-Fi. Not that we have any kind of EMFs to this process. There's no radiation or EMF or anything like that. But it creates about a 1 inch field. And so when you put it on, it has to be within close proximity. And that's what signals to the muscles to let go. If you think about it, your brain gives a signal to your muscles to engage and let go. So we just copied what that is. We figured out how what the signaling process to make the muscles let go, and then we embedded that into the shirt. So when you put it on, your muscles let go.
So you managed to create that particle, and then after that you figured out a solution how you can embed it into the fabric itself. And
Yeah, that took a little
actually,
time.
yeah, it sounds like science fiction
Yeah, it was until about 10 years ago.
because this stuff sounds like science fiction,
Hmm.
and this stuff sounds like a military would have this kind of technology.
It'd be good for them.
By the way, like, do you
Yeah.
have a patent on this?
No, I didn't patent it. I went to three high-end patent attorneys. They told me just keep it a trade secret. And I go, well, no, we need to patent it, right? And they said, well, if anybody takes it from you, like a huge company or like say China or somebody, like what are you going to do? Like we'll go after them, but they already have it. They're running with it. They'll tie us up in court for years because when you patent something, you have to tell exactly how you do it. And if you can't replicate it from the patent, then the patent's void. And so he's like, you're better off just keeping it a trade secret. So I just keep everything under lock and key, and so far so good.
So far, no one has tried to break in, threaten you. I need the tech.
Mm-mm.
Okay, let's let's keep it that way.
Yeah, I'm just trying to help people. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, hopefully they see my heart in the situation, and I'm not trying to, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Can you maybe share a couple of specific examples or use cases where people started to use the product, and also what were the results?
Some of the first people that we ever put it on, I get to work with a lot of professional athletes. Um, and actually, one of the first prototypes we ever made was I had one of my athletes try it. He played in the NFL. He was about 6'8", 260 or so, and ran like a deer. The guy's a phenomenal athlete, but we couldn't get his knee to stay in place. We could get it in place, but every game it seemed like it'd knock it back out. Um, Probably about once a month we'd have to go see him and make sure he's right, which, honestly, it probably kept him from big time injury. And so, about halfway through the season, I said, "Hey, man, put this on and wear it." He goes, "Okay," and I did, and we did the push test to him, and he freaked out. And he goes, "This is great," and I don't think he took it off for a while. And so, so we were seeing him about once a month, and then a month goes by, 2 months go by, and I turn on the TV and I can see him wearing my shirt while he's playing football because it was a red shirt and he's just sitting there wearing it. And I'm going, okay, great. 3 months goes by, I haven't heard a word from the guy, and I'm thinking, hmm. And then they get in the playoffs. He's got a guy posted up, and this other guy comes and hits him and hyperextends his knee, the same one we worked on. But I said, oh no, that's not good. And they take him off. They kind of hold him off the field, help him off the field. Three plays later, he's back playing, and I'm like, okay, what the heck's going on? So like 6 in the morning, I get a call from him. He goes, hey, I said, how swollen is it? That's the first thing I said to him. He goes, not bad. I said, how's it feel? He goes, it's a little sore, but I can use it. I said, do you want me to come out there and fix you up? He said, yeah. So I jumped the plane, got out to where he was at. His knee was still in place. 3 months of NFL football, and that knee didn't go back out. He goes, I just keep wearing this shirt and do the movements you told me to do. And I go, perfect. And we did a couple of little things to him, but nothing major. And they ended up winning the Super Bowl that year. So if he would have got hit with his knee in the wrong position, even possibly if we would have worked on him about 2 or 3 weeks before, his knee would have been in more of a weakened state, and he would have upped the chances of injury in the knee. So we feel like we helped him finish out the season strong and keep himself from catastrophic injury, because when the body's in the right position, it's just stronger, can handle more impact. So for us, that was like a huge moment. And that was like, the first, that was like year one. And we were like, this is awesome. And so from then, we've had about 3 dozen sports teams now wear our not quite, but almost 3 dozen sports teams now wear our clothing. They wore every team. What we do is we outfit the entire team, every player, every game, and we track their soft tissue injury rate. And so far, so good. We had very little, if none, soft tissue injuries across the board. Um, we've had different coaches and players reach out to us and go, usually we have at least one or 10 injuries, and now we've had none. Now, I've had guys break their bone. I've had guys break bones, and contusions are different, where they get hit because the guy got hit in the knee and the original story. And it's still swollen and he hyperextended it some, but he was still able to get back out there because the knee was right. So when the structure's right, it's very hard to hurt yourself. It's like a kid. Well, he's a kid. He don't got to stretch. He can just go run. Yeah, because he hadn't compensated for anything yet. He can just go out and run. When you have layers of compensation, now your body's in a weakened state, and your chances of injury just jumps to the roof.
And are you mainly working with athletes or also with the elderly?
I work with everybody, elderly, athletes. I like to say brand new to 102. 102 is the oldest person I ever worked on, so it's pretty fun.
That itself is already a fascinating story. And I can't even imagine like how much this is going to change the health space,
Yeah, oh
the
yeah,
sports, right?
yep.
So what would be your prediction there? Like how do you think even just like people or athletes are going to think about performance or injury or recovery after using this?
I mean, for sure. I think injury rate should drop, which will be huge. Who doesn't want that? It's good for the team, it's good for the player, it's good for the fan. In fact, my one of my buddies is like, I can't get my fantasy team right because every time I, pick a player, he ends up injuring himself and it messes me up. So I'm like, I'll tell you who to pick because I know who's wearing my stuff. But no, I'm just playing. But yeah, so there'll be though I think the impact there, but I think like if we can get kids and adults, young adults to wear it as well as the elderly, but if we can keep them right from the beginning, the soft tissue injury rate, the wearing out the joints, I think that should just see a plummet. I already see that in the people I work with. Most of the time when I work with somebody, I won't see them for about a year to 5 years before I need to see them again. Now, NFL players or like a guy that rides a bull in a rodeo, that's a little different because they're getting beat up on purpose. But majority of people I don't see for about a year to 5 years, if at all. Yeah.
Aren't you concerned that you are stepping on some toes? That like, like you are because this can actually change a lot of things for companies in medicine, companies in therapy, right? So I can imagine that you could be actually making a lot of enemies for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I'm not going to stop all problems. It's not going to fix everything. There's definitely times for all kinds of drugs and therapies. In fact, I tell people all the time, wear our clothes and go get some therapy. It's just going to make their jobs easier and it's going to make your life better. And we're just trying to help people, so why would they like if they get better or somebody gets better, what's wrong with that? Isn't that how we're supposed to be? Shouldn't we figure out stuff to make stuff better? So if people come against me, man, that looks really bad on them. That's going to make them look horrible. Yeah, I mean, unless they paint me as a loon and say I'm crazy and my stuff's horrible, then okay, I can see that play. But other than that, like we're here to help people. Like I think we figured out a problem that no one's figured out quite this type of solution to. And so, hey, I want to work with anybody. In fact, there's inroads to do partnerships with all kinds of people. We could do. We've already started to do partnerships with different clothing people, companies, but there's ways of doing partnerships with different therapies. And I even think we could do a partnership with a drug company and just expound it to a different level. I think there's a lot of room out there. I'd much rather work with somebody than try to fight against them. I'm not against anybody. There's a time and place for everything, or I wouldn't say just about everything. There's a time and place for just about everything. But you know what? The person that comes up with the better solution, or the person that helps more people, wins the day. And so I don't even care. I don't even care about that. I just want to help people. If you feel better, it makes my heart happy. We get testimonies all the time, and that's why we do what we do. Oh, the craziest testimony. The craziest testimony was not the craziest, but one of the craziest testimonies we've had. I was visiting one of my friends who's a doctor, and he has some of his staff was in his clinic, and he was like, "Hey, put that shirt on them and show them." I was like, "Sweet." So I did my routine, and this girl that was in there, she says, "Oh, I injured my shoulder." And me and the doctor standing there, and when I did the push test and pushed on her, sure enough, she's like, "Oh, ah." And then I put the shirt over her shoulders, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, the pain's not there." And I'm like, "Sweet." And it's not that not that it gets masked the pain; it literally released the muscles that are, putting pressure on the nerves. And she goes, "Well, how about my shoulder?" And I go, "Well, see if you can raise it up." She just raises her arm straight up, and then she looks at her arm and she starts bawling. I mean, crying. Well, typically you hurt your shoulder, it's going to get better. And the way that she was carrying on and crying didn't quite compute with us. And the doc goes, what's wrong? What happened? She says, no, you don't understand. She goes, I injured my shoulder when I was born. I've never been able to raise my arm all the way up, ever. She goes, I'm in therapy trying to get my arm to do this. She goes, this is the first time in my life I've ever been able to raise my arm. I said, well, let me give you a high five. So I gave her her first high five. And if that was the only person that got helped, it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's about. So to me, but we hear story after story after story of this stuff. So
I can definitely see like why she felt like so emotional about that moment.
oh
Like this is
yeah,
the
I
first
can
time ever.
now.
Yeah. But it also like it got me thinking that like we also like hold like so much like tension in our body, and our emotions are also stored in the body. Is there a way that this solution can actually help with more like psychological or emotional problems that people experience?
Yeah, so the interesting part in the newer study that's being taken, we have a doctor doing a long case study for us right now, and I know it releases muscles, helps performance, helps you feel better, like we've proven that out. He's using some HRV machines, total energy machines, EKG, and he's checking the brain and the heart and everything else. And he said, Brian, you don't understand the implications this have. I said, what do you mean? He goes, this helps people emotionally too. I said, what do you mean? He says, no, we see it in the scans. They're better off emotionally. It calms them down when they go in the parasympathetic state. All of a sudden, they can deal with their different emotions and whatnot. I said, really? I mean, and I knew if you feel better, if you feel better physically, you're gonna feel better mentally, right? So I kind of just contributed to that. But he's saying that it will help um, in an emotional state as well, which really does make sense. So I would think of it as like my shirt doesn't necessarily help with emotions directly, but when your body feels better, then it does. But if it does it every time, then there isn't a direct uh, pathway to helping emotions. So quite frankly, stress and emotions can play a huge role within the body, causing all kinds of issues and whatnot. So I didn't realize it was going to affect the overall emotional state of people. So I was like, that's awesome.
That's a game changer. That's exactly what I noted down here. Like, can it actually help with stress? If someone is experiencing not just like physical stress, but also like an emotional stress?
From what he's saying and what I've seen, I know it can. To what degree, I'm not 100% sure about the emotional part. I still think you have to renew your mind and think right and live better, but it could definitely help you with what you're going through and kind of the stuck state that you're in, I would say.
So this is a third party study that's currently happening, right?
Correct. No, we're not paying the guy. Actually, I met him. He didn't. We were at a conference and I pushed on him and he looked at me like, huh. And then we went over to his booth and he goes, do you wear your stuff all the time? I said, yeah. He says, sit down, I'll test you. I'll tell you if your stuff actually works. I said, great. So we sat down and he put all kinds of stuff on my body to check it. And I don't know, we were probably there about 4 or 5 minutes. And at first he had a scowl on his face and he was looking. Then he kind of lightens, and then he kind of smiles. Then he starts laughing towards the end. He's like, well, he goes, congratulations. You're like testing a 14-year-old boy. And I was like, what? He was like, your body's like, according to my machinery, your body's like a 14-year-old boy. And I was like, oh, that's good, right? And he's like, oh, yeah, it's real good. He goes, okay, you're doing something. I'm going to test this. Later on, we were talking to him. And he goes, I really was tired and I didn't. There's not a whole lot of new stuff under the sun, but when I saw this product, I was like, I have to test this. And so now he's testing it. But the cool part, he's like, let me buy some clothes. He goes, I don't want any of this tainted. So we never gave him anything. And he so far we haven't paid him anything or whatever. But some of the data that we're getting from him is pretty astounding. We're hoping it'll be done. Well, we're hoping this month. He'll start bust out the white paper, and then we can go through the data and see what he's found, which will be very exciting.
And if his hypothesis is correct, then essentially what it does is that it can make me feel and perform healthy and young not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well.
I just thought of something. Um, I work with some PGA golfers, good golfers, and I can get their structure right, but golfing is mental for sure. There's no doubt about it. There's a huge mental role in golfing. One of my golfers, 6 months after he started wearing our clothes, he shot the lowest round of his career. And I was just thinking we stabilized his structure, which for sure we did. But now I'm starting to think maybe we helped him psychologically or helped him, get more of a relaxed state to be able to play at a higher level. I've never really pieced that together until this moment. So I'll have to go back and ponder that because the guy can play, but you know as well as me, when you're in the zone, your head's right, that hole becomes 10 foot wide and you can hit every putt. So yeah, I think there is a component to it that could really help people. That's fascinating.
This is crazy.
No, it is. I've had this thing for 10 years and we're still discovering, but it's really more of how the body works, right? The body's so intricate and everything works together. So if you can get the overall structure right and then you can forgive and love people, man, your life's going to be better, period. Just don't fall off something.
I think I'm still trying to understand a little bit more the technology itself. That okay, so you put that particle in, and then it interacts with the muscles. I relax, and of course, it has physiological and psychological benefits as well. Um, does this have to do anything with like morphic fields or quantum physics or anything like quantum science?
I have a friend that's a quantum biologist. The guy is the smart. I'm pretty sure he's the smartest guy I've ever met. And he's got one of the biggest hearts. I love this guy. But he said, absolutely, this is quantum. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, no, it has to be quantum. For what you're doing and the way you interact in the field, it's quantum. And so I've done a lot of research in quantum. Still don't understand it fully. I don't think anybody does. I wouldn't even say I understand it a little bit. I guess I get some concepts and some ideas. I just don't feel comfortable in saying it's quantum. Morphic field, sure. I mean, it interacts with it, so I would say it has to, work with that too. We like to think of it as like a resonancy or frequency
Mhm.
because more or less that's what it's creating. It's creating a frequency, a signal that interacts with the body. So we just figured out the proper frequency that interacts with the muscles. It's really as simple as that. The problem is about half the culture right now goes frequency. What's that? And the other half goes, oh, okay, yeah, frequency. So the learning base of that word is catching up pretty quick. 10 years ago, it wasn't 50%. I
Mhm.
guarantee you, but I think it's over 50% now. We'll go into boardrooms and talk to CEOs and yeah, people in huge companies, and it's funny because half the room in there will go, "Oh, frequency, okay," and the other half goes, "Frequency, that's a bunch of hooey." And I'm like, "Well, if you break down everything, it has a frequency. So if you match the tone of it, and I go through the whole resonance and the tuning forks and everything else, there's that's a real simple way to show it, but everything has a frequency." So that's kind of how we like to view it. Um, Actually, my friend who's a quantum biologist, he's doing he was in the process of doing some studies for us, but he had to put it on pause because he actually invented something that's pretty amazing as well. But eventually he'll pick that study back up, and then we can talk more about the quantum realm. But I just don't want to. I think that word could be overused, and so I want to make sure I don't want to overstate it or go in the wrong direction of that, but I think it does play a role in there, but to what degree it'd be very interesting.
Yeah, that is definitely picking up right now. Like everything is frequency and vibration, like going back to what Nikola Tesla was teaching, right? Like if you actually want to understand how everything works and how the universe operates, like you need to look at everything in terms of frequency and vibration, right? So, wow, this is really fascinating to see like how some of those theories can actually manifest in a form of just embedding that into a fabric that someone can wear and like magic. It's like coming from Harry Potter or something. Like I cannot think of like anything else, like a
I know a
magic
lot of people
cloth.
say magic. I guess because I know the science behind it, I don't think it's magic. But yeah, I can see where people don't understand. They just say magic. But the nice part is I don't know how when I flip my light switch on, my light turns on. So I don't quite understand different passes, but I still use like I couldn't tell you how my car works, but I drive one. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
the nice part is you don't have to understand it. So
yeah. And then thinking about the application of this technology and also the clothing itself, I collected a couple of questions, not just from myself, from my surrounding, because everybody was
oh, cool.
fascinated by this thing, and I also asked my audience on social media to give me some questions to ask from you
Oh yeah.
what they are interested in, right? So I have a couple of those, and one of those questions would be is that does this just help with the pain relief, or does it also help to correct the cause?
Yeah, it's not there again, it's not a mask. We don't want to mask anything. What it does, it actually corrects the structural imbalance of the root cause. So we think it's a root cause fix when it comes to structural imbalance. Like I said, though, if you have a tooth infection, it's not going to necessarily touch that. Now, it will help relax the jaw, help the blood get to it, maybe helps the body fight against it, but we're not talking about put it on, the pain goes away, right? If you're broke your leg and you put the shirt over it, yeah, okay. It it maybe it helps it heal a little quicker, but because the blood flow factor, but it's not going to fix the leg. So it's not magic, right? But and I wouldn't even say it relieves pain directly. I'd say once the structure is relaxed, then the pain can go away. Structural imbalance pain. So um,
Just to stay on
yeah,
this, then,
yeah,
okay,
please,
while I'm wearing the t-shirt, so my structure goes back to its normal position. So let's say that the pain
yeah,
is gone. But the moment I take off the t-shirt, everything kind of like goes back to as it was before, which is still like not fixed, right? So
correct.
what someone should still consider to do besides using the t-shirt?
So the interesting part is if you take it off and you put it right back on, and then you take it off and you put it on and you take it off, yeah, the body won't sustain. But we found after about 20 to 30 minutes of wearing it, it actually holds. And people, well, how long? Well, how screwed up are you? Because if you're real screwed
Mm.
up, it won't last too long. And if you're not too bad, it'll last sometimes days. But we found the more you wear it, and we have some movements and stretches on our website, and the more you do that, eventually your body does stabilize and actually corrects the structural imbalance. The nice part is I've had people go 2 and 3 months without wearing it, and I check them, and their muscles are still relaxed and their structure is still straight. So yeah, it actually corrects it at a root cause level. It doesn't just mask anything. But the long term correction too. The thing about it is like those football players, they're going to get out, but regular people, they're going to get out too. It's just a matter of time. That's just how it goes. So if we can help the body not go into a compensational state. It goes through its normal state. You sprain your ankle, it swells, the body repairs itself, the tissue gets better, the tendons strengthen, and you're good. If we can keep the pelvis from twisting and the shoulders are dropped to take the pressure off that, so when your ankle heals, you're still crooked, now we've won the day.
So, in order to fix that, exactly what you just explained, like how long should I be wearing the t-shirt?
If you sprained your ankle or
Yeah,
the hips and the shoulders,
the hips and the shoulders.
well, that's a good question. Everybody's a little bit different, right? So let's go to an extreme. I have a guy that I work with. He's had 100 surgeries. 100. Oh, well, actually, over 100. We got to counting one day, and we got to like 90 something, and then he started talking about dental surgeries, and I was like, "You realize that's surgery too?" He goes, "Oh, well, then I'm over 100," and we just stopped counting after that. He wears our clothes. He loves them, but he has so much scar tissue in his body. Um, there's times where we need to go back and release that scar tissue and have some therapy around that. So that's kind of like an extreme. Um, so I would say he's still not perfect structurally, but if he's in a relaxed state and all the muscles are released, he feels better. He doesn't care because he was one of the worst cases I've had in a while. And then you have like say an athlete. Well, if you're an athlete, there's probably not that much wrong with you compared to like some other people, so they tend to fare a lot better. They can straighten up a whole lot quicker and maintain it a lot better. So it just kind of depends on who you are, how screwed up you are, and what you got going on.
Mm. And can someone wear this 24/7?
Yeah, I went a whole year purposely wearing it besides say taking a shower. That's that's the best I ever felt. But yeah, the more the merrier, because once the muscles let go, it's not going to just keep. There's nothing more. I guess now with the newer study, we could argue that there's an emotional support to it as well. But structurally thinking, once the muscles let go, then everything's good. And so it's not one. It's not like it's you can't overdo it because you're just putting your body back into the right state, and then it just helps it maintain it. Because when you get off, you fly or something. Like I always wear mine when I'm flying, and ever since I started doing that, I don't like I can get out of the plane, my legs don't fall asleep, I'm not all cramped up because I'm a pretty big guy and those seats are small. So
Mm. And also what you said that depending on like how messed up I am, like it can take, longer time for me or shorter time for me to actually like fix things and get everything back in place. Um, is there any kind of risk that someone should be aware of? Let's say that I'm still like not healed and things are still like not perfectly balanced, and I start wearing the t-shirt and oh, the pain is gone, and then suddenly I think like, oh, I'm healed, I'm perfectly fine, but then I'm still not healed exactly, and then maybe I can make another wrong move or I can injure myself even more. So is there kind of associated risk with wearing the technology?
yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that question before. That's a great question. So I have people that do injure themselves that wear our clothes and say they injure their knee. Their knee's still going to hurt even with the shirt on because it doesn't mask the pain. And then let's say they stretch out their ACL or tear part of their ACL, it's still going to hurt. They injured it. And when it's right, then that pain stops because it's from a force or a blunt object. The pain that people feel or stop when they put the shirt on is a structural imbalance pain, which is a lot of people's pains. And so once that pain stops, that signals to the body that it's correct. Then they can go do stuff. So really, yeah, no, it's actually, I'm not gonna say it's foolproof, but yeah, if you have a major problem, it's not going to necessarily it'll help it. It won't feel as bad, but you're not gonna it's not gonna mask that pain. And we don't want to mask the pain. We want to see our limitations so we don't hurt ourselves more. And so you still will have some imbalances or structural pain because you're not right. So that should prevent you from doing stuff. Now, if you go mask it, that's where the problem comes in.
Um, okay, let's take another example. Could an athlete feel better wearing this and accidentally overtrain without realizing that their body needs rest?
No, because you're still going to get tired, right? You're not, it doesn't, your body works more efficiently and it's going to recover quicker, but you're still going to get tired. Like, I wore it the other day and I moved a bunch of rocks, big old stone slabs. We were paving some stuff around our place and I worked my tail off. I wasn't physically in pain, but I didn't want to move anymore, right? Because I was tired. And I'm not, I usually don't do that kind of work. I haven't done that work in a while. So you're still going to get tired. Your body will still tell you to stop, but because everything's straight, you can push yourself pretty hard, and nothing should come from it. I mean, nothing bad should come from it. Hopefully, something good comes from it, though.
Okay, so it still like doesn't prevent muscle fatigue.
No, no, no. You will fatigue. Don't get me wrong. The nervous system can only respond so much before it fatigues. But what we found is it does extend the life of it. You could go longer, which is good, but no more out of your parameters. Because if you think about it, once you get your structure right, then you're going to go to what you can go. If your body's off, that limits the amount you can go. When everything's right, you can go longer and with more. But you're still going to fatigue. I don't want it not to fatigue. That'd be bad.
Yeah, it just reminds me to a story. If I'm correct, I think this was the story of Usain Bolt. They very early discovered him that he was super talented, but then he had some sort of like a lower back thing. If I'm correct, like don't quote me on that. And then once they fixed that, then he became the fastest man alive.
There you go.
So they
Yeah,
unlocked him.
exactly.
Like you
Yeah.
with this one, like you can unlock people's physical potential just by wearing
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I can tell you some stories on that too, but absolutely.
You
Well,
can?
I mean, oh yeah. Um, I had I had one NFL player. He was in the combine and he ran. He was, I think he's 6'5", 330. He ran a 5'2" 40. Came and saw us. 2 weeks later, he ran in another combine or another pro day, and he ran a 4.940. So we dropped like, I don't know, almost half a second off his time. Not quite half a second, but within 2 weeks. And that's just getting his structure right and everything functioning properly. And if you look at the video of him running at first, he's like, the second time he's here, locked in, doesn't hardly wiggle, and he's running. So yeah, I mean, when you get the structure right, the performance increases. Now, your skill set might not increase. You still got to like learn how to play. Now, I wear my clothes all the time. I still can't play the piano. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's going to help you. It's going
Yeah.
to help you play the 100% of your ability.
Someone actually asked from Instagram, is the fabric organic or not?
We do have all types of fabric. So organic, yes, linen, uh, polyester, cotton, bamboo, silks. We have all kinds of fabric. In fact, we're trying to expand. I just met with a lady the other day. We're going to expand our linen line coming up soon. We love natural fibers. That's where we want to go. But athletes love moisture wicking fiber. So we'll just try both. There's enough out there for it to cover everybody.
And does the tech ever wear off? Or like what is it that users have to do in order to like preserve the technology inside the fabric?
Yeah, that's a great point. So far after 10 years, the original shirts that we made still work like day one. So you just at that point it's just working with the material itself. So if we can get the material or if you can take care of the material right, then it should last indefinite. Eventually, say a cotton shirt, it's gonna tear apart. It's gonna disintegrate on down the road. But if you wash it and hang dry it, it's going to last a whole lot longer than if you put it in your dryer. The polyester shirts, some of the original ones we made, they look brand new, and we abused, and some of them don't because we really abused them. But we abused those shirts left and right, and I mean they're a little faded or something, but they still work, and so that's pretty neat. We've washed them hundreds of times, and I tried to figure out anything I possibly could do to get rid of it in there. I found if you burn it, it doesn't work because there's no shirt left. And I found something like that. I found if you lose the shirt, it actually still works, just not for you because you lost it. So, yeah, that's my bad joke of the day.
But essentially it works as a regular shirt, right?
Yeah,
You treat
you
it
can
the
wash
same
it,
way,
dry it.
you wear it the same
Yep,
way. You don't really have
yep.
to do anything, you don't have to change anything. The only difference is the supplier who you get your shirt
And
from.
exactly. And the nice part is like you don't have to like. There's a lot of biohacking stuff out there that's really good, and I use personally. But like you don't have to change anything. Like for example, we have sheets in our bed. I'm gonna sleep in my bed anyway, so I don't. It doesn't add 1 second to use the program because I got to make my bed. I'm gonna sleep in my bed, so I'm using it just going to sleep. So that's the nice part. It kind of fits in with what you're already doing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because like as I was going through the shop that you have online, I saw that you have a bunch of different kind of products, and some of them are like t-shirts, some of them are shorts, some of them are like pillowcases, like blankets, and um, also like even socks, right?
Yeah.
So it
Oh
also
yeah.
got me wondering, does it actually matter if someone wears a t-shirt or socks? Is the effect the same across the entire body, or it matters that what body part the fabric actually touches?
So we kind of noticed early on that the more surface area, the better. So we developed a patch, right? It's about this big, and we got pretty similar results, like basically the same thing with the patch. And we would put it, up here or on the bottom of the feet, and it would release the whole body. But when we started doing our sleep study, the more surface area that people had on when they slept, or like the sheets, it did increase the REM and deep sleep from that. So then we said, okay, there is a correlation. We had a Olympic sprinter. She bought a shirt from me. I said, "Don't you want pants?" She goes, "No, I want a shirt." I'm like, "All right, whatever." I was like, "You don't run with your arms, you run with your legs." But okay, cool. And so she calls me up a couple months later and says, "Brian," I said, "What's wrong?" Because athletes only call when something's wrong, right? I said, "What's wrong?" She says, "I feel like I'm cheating." I said, "What do you mean you feel like you're cheating?" She goes, "Well, I go and work out and I burn my legs out, but I put your shirt on and all the soreness goes away in my legs." And I go, "Okay, yeah, that's what it's designed to do." Well, think about it. She puts her shirt on, but her legs let go. So that just, okay, you don't need to, you don't, it doesn't matter where you put it. Well, about the same time, we had some Navy SEALs test our product. They're extreme athletes. This one guy called me and goes, "Brian, I just finished my 6 hour long workout." I go, 6 hours? He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What the heck you doing for 6 hours?" And he started talking about swimming in the ocean, carrying sandbags and carrying logs and I don't know, all this crazy stuff. And he goes, "So when I got back, I put your shirt on and my upper body feels way better. My legs are still a little sore, but even that feels better." I said, "Well, your legs shouldn't be sore at all." He said, "Well, they're sore." And I said, "Well, they shouldn't be because of the previous data." And he goes, "Don't get me wrong. Everybody else in my company, they're all laying on the ground, can't move. I'm the only one up moving, walking around." And I was like, "Oh." So we sent him some pants, and sure enough, he repeated the process, and then he put the pants and the shirt on, and the soreness was dropping a lot quicker in the pants. So there is something to say about surface area, but you'd have to take it to an extreme to even tell the difference. And then the doctor that's helping us with our study, he even said when you put a hat on your head, it actually affects the brain conductivity more than if you put a shirt on your body, and vice versa. He could see the differences within the machine. Now, they're not great, but there is a difference. So, yeah, it does matter where you put it on, how much you put on. But a pair of socks does a really good job. The hat on your head, most people probably will never tell the difference. But like an extreme athlete, yeah, the more the better.
Then I also have another question on exactly what you just mentioned about the brain, because I also saw that you have some hats, right? So I
Yeah,
was wondering, like,
thinking
okay,
caps.
yeah, I put it on my head. But does it actually do anything to my brain, or is there like any kind of like risk that I should be aware of?
Yeah, there's no risk. I've actually had my late grandmother, she wore her clothes from about 90 till she was 97, and she definitely fared way better for it. And I have ladies that are pregnant that wear it all through pregnancy and then put their kids in it afterwards, and all the kids are doing fine. We don't see any problems with it. Some of those kids now are 9 and 10 years old, or 8 and 9 years old, and so they're totally fine. So I mean, you can't even drink a beer when you're pregnant, right? So we think it's totally safe. Um, the interesting thing about the cap on the head, one of the guys that works for me, he kind of has ADHD or whatnot. And he has a hard time focusing. And one day his wife goes, "Hey, what'd you put in that cap?" And I kind of explained it to her. I said, "Why are you saying that?" She goes, "I won't let my husband take it off." I said, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "When he has it on, he can focus and he can get stuff done. If he doesn't have it on, I have to stay on top of him." I said, "What are you doing?" And so I asked him, he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes, "I can just focus better with it on." I said, "Well, but how about wearing a shirt?" He goes, "Nah, the shirt helps me, but not like the hat does." Which is partly what the other doctor's trying to help us figure out. So there is something to say about the where you put it. So I know when I wear my hat, I do seem to get more stuff done. I can't say I can notice a difference. I can't say I feel any different or better, but I just seem like I want to go do more stuff. So it's quite fat. Maybe it has to do with like the blood getting up in the head and the oxygen load of the brain, or I don't know, but it definitely there's something to that for sure.
Well, that would be another very interesting study
Oh
to
yeah,
have.
we're going to be doing studies the rest of our life. So, but yeah, we have a couple keyed up. As soon as we get done with this one, we got a couple more. We're already starting to start. So,
Is there any limits, or who is it not for?
so far we can't find anybody that doesn't help or affect. Oh, I know the person it's not for. The person that's perfectly straight that has no problems. That won't help them at all.
Introduce me to that person.
Yeah, no joke, right? I want to meet them. There's got to be somebody out there. There's got to be. There's got to be somebody out there that's like perfectly straight and has no problems at all.
Mm.
I've never met them, but
You mentioned that, like, even if we wear the t-shirt, but we still have to do certain things in order to, like, heal
yeah.
ourselves or perform our best and, learn the movements, all of that. So it also got me thinking, if someone keeps the same bad habits that cause the imbalance, will the tech keep balancing them, or do they still need to change something in their lifestyle?
Um, that's a great question. It definitely keep balancing their muscles because it's just going to release them. But at the
Mm.
same time, they need to change their bad habits because why are you trying to fight against it? Let's work with it. So to me, yeah, they need to change their habits, but they need to identify their habits first off. So
Yeah, because I could also use this as someone going to use it as an escape. Like, oh, okay, like this thing is fine. Like, I don't really have to work on myself. I don't really have to fix anything. I'm just gonna put on the magic shirt, and then everything is going to be fine.
no, that's a great point. And I will say I have people that are like that, and I'm like, no, why don't you go for a walk? Or why don't you go get a massage? Or you know what I'm saying? Like I highly recommend body work with it on, or like a massage, just lay it on the massage table and lay on top of it. It would be it's like a new world with the massage. So there's definitely work that needs to be done. Like I said, it won't break up scar tissue directly, but if you can get the body to stop pulling on it, then I believe it. In my opinion, I think the scar tissue stops growing. And then if you can get somebody to go in there and break up the fascia and the scar tissue, now you're at a whole different level. So I still think there's still work to be done. And then emotional work, forgiving people, loving people, detox. I think detox is really important. I still think saunas or sweating and getting rid of that kind of stuff. Yeah, you still need to do all that. That will help you. But at least you feel good when you do it. That's the fun part.
So you have this technology already for 10 years, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Where do you see this technology 10 years from now? Like, what some of the future, what are some of the future applications that you see for this?
Well, we're still once I kind of figured out the pathway that how this works, we're looking at different deals. So we're actually looking at like the mental aspect of it. How can we get that to function better? How can we get the body to detox with using it? Because if we get to detox and help people forgive people, now we've just reached a whole different level. Now we go beyond structure and we're just helping the overall body, just kind of the well-being of the body. So we've been had some inroads at that. I'm working with a couple of different people now that have some really good insight on that. So I think there's a possibility to take it to a different place. We're not there yet, but it took me 15 years the first time, but I know a lot more stuff now, so I think I can do it better. Um, yeah, I think it's exciting. My goal is to outfit the world, right? So if we could get everybody that wears clothes, which is hopefully most everybody, to wear our stuff, then that would be pretty amazing and it would help a ton of people. And really, I think the funny part is, I think if you're a kid and you wear it, you might not even understand the importance of it because it keeps you stable. So you might, my nephew, he's 6'5", 220, and throws 90 miles an hour. He's a baseball pitcher. Yeah. And they say he looks like me. Everybody goes, yeah, he looks just like you. And I was like, that's awesome. And the kid's never been injured until he got injured because he, hit his head. He was a quarterback, hit his head on the helmet and tore a tendon. But other than that, the kid doesn't get injured. And so it's kind of neat to see. But I was thinking about that like I was injured all the time. That's kind of brought me into this field and it kind of made me who I am. But at the same time, um, if the kids never get injured, they won't even understand the importance of it if they always feel good. So but that'll be years down the road before we see anything like that. But it's kind of an interesting thought.
Can this technology be also infused into objects? So let's say to like a like jewelry, or I don't know, like a mug or a microphone or whatever it is, like whatever that we actually like use on a day-to-day basis.
That's a great question. So far, any kind of metal or metallic object, it doesn't seem to work with. But any kind of textile, yeah. So eventually, I want to do like car seats or plane seats. We actually put them in sunglasses, stuff like that. So yeah, there's a huge application beyond clothing as well. Anything that's close to the body, like we could put it in a carpet because it's a textile. But what are you gonna do? Sleep on your carpet? I mean, I guess you wear bare if you walk around barefooted, then, or if you're an inch away from your carpet. But I just don't think that would be ideal. I think clothing is probably one of the more ideal aspects of it.
Mhm. Because the reason why I'm asking that, recently I watched this video with Ben Greenfield. He's like a big
Oh yeah,
time biohacker,
Ben's great.
and 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 he built a fascinating house. Like how he
Oh
built
yeah.
his new house, like the flooring, the conductivity, the electricity, the light, the air, the water, like how you are constantly grounded, no matter whether you are downstairs or upstairs. So I was thinking if like this technology could be also, infused into, like flooring or something that
Oh
like
yeah, for sure.
constantly like heals you and relaxes you.
Yeah, I mean, we could put it right into his mattress, put it into his couch, put it into his office chair. So yeah, I mean, there's tons of applications for it. I try not to think that way because we just got to get people accustomed to the clothing first, and then we can go in any direction we want, right? So, but yeah, the applications. Ben's a great guy too, by the way.
You met him.
Oh yeah,
Is he using your technology?
no, that's the funny part. The first time he tried it, we were at a show, and he was like, "Huh, that's interesting." There was nobody around, everything's good. The next time he tried it at a show, there was a ton of people around with cameras and everything, and I don't think he really like somebody brought him to our booth at a biohacking event, and I don't think he really wanted to be there, and so he didn't see. I just don't think he saw the importance of it. And then later on, I met him and at a conference, we actually sat next to each other at a dinner, and I got to know him a little bit. And you know what? I'm not. People use their stuff great. If they don't use it, great. I'm not. I try not to pressure anybody into anything. I just want to get to know the guy. I know he's helped a lot of people, and that's to me that's more valuable. So um, I like to know people behind the scenes, and he's pretty much who he is. That's the cool part. He's not putting on a front or anything, and he seems to have good values and beliefs, and he's just a good person. So
It seems like that you already have that in common. Like you both want to help people.
yeah, a lot of people in the space want to help people. That's kind of the key behind, because 25 years right now, I got invested in this. So that's a long time. And really in reality, this will live long, hopefully live long beyond me and help people forever. So we hopefully we created a good legacy that'll help tons of people. So I'm happy to do it.
Wow, this has been this has been an absolute pleasure to have you. Is there any other like final message that you would like to put out there before we wrap it up?
Yeah, I usually just talk about loving people. I think that's the most important thing we can do is help and love people. Because when you help other people, you feel good about yourself. So selfishly, you should help people. But really, in reality, if everybody just took some time to help one person, the world would be a whole lot better place, regardless. And so that I don't know, that's just always runs through my head. I see somebody in need, I want to do what I can to help that person.
Well, with this one, you are already helping a bunch. And
I hope so. I think so. Yeah, I think a lot of people are really loving it. So.
I think so. And I also see that there's a big demand for it. Whoever I spoke to about this, they're like, what? Okay, I want one. right? So there's a need for it. People are in need to have
The needs
access.
there for yeah, the needs there for sure. I mean, yeah, that's not the problem. I think it's the believability is the problem at this point,
Yeah, yeah. I
which I
think
don't blame people.
I think that's probably the biggest question as well. Like, how
Yeah,
can I trust it? That's why, like, some of the things that we talked about, I really hope it's also going to help. It helped me to better understand and also build more trust, right? And I hope it's also going to help other people as well to get their questions answered with all the use cases, the case
yeah.
studies, the customer testimonials, the third party tests that are also coming now. I think that's going to be very exciting to dive deeper into that. Once they are come out, I would love to have you back on and do
Oh,
another
for
one of
sure.
this.
Absolutely. And I think, I mean, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. So if you get it, don't like it, just send it back and we'll give your money back. So there really is no risk involved.
Yeah.
We don't want to dupe one on somebody. We want them to be better. If it doesn't make you better, send it back.
Because I want to have one for myself, for my mother, for my father, for everyone to try.
When you get one, reach out to me and I can walk you through the push test phase of it. And then,
Yeah.
or just watch the video. I have a push test video on our website and it'll teach you how to do it. Um, if you do that and you know, it takes about one or two people to do it and you'll get it. Then you can freak people out with it. Then it's like a party favor. People are like, "What in the world? That's crazy." Yeah,
Yeah.
we have a lot of fun pushing on people.
A new party trick, right? Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. I really believe on the mission that you are on. I'm very
Thank you,
excited
sir.
to have the product, and then I'm definitely going to report back as well. So
Yes, please.
thanks for coming on. This has been great. That's the pod for the day, and then we will see each other next time.